The United Kingdom
I would love to see Canada be the 51st state. The Canadian citizens, if that happened, would get a very big tax cut, tremendous tax cut, because they're very highly taxed. And you wouldn't have to worry about military. You wouldn't have to worry about many of the things. You'd have better health coverage.
In this video, Canadian David Doel of the Rational National channel here on YouTube talks about Trump's relatively recent assertion that Canada should be part of the U.S., and in particular, that Canadians want American health care. I can't keep a chuckle out of my voice. I'm going to have some opinions as we go, of course. That's what I do here. And then I want to know what you think in the comments, but let's watch this together.
Oh, hello. Today, Donald Trump spoke with reporters about the insane idea of Canada becoming the 51st state, but this time introduced a new element into his argument, claiming that Canadians would just love to have American healthcare. I'm going to hold on my laughter for now. I'm going to play this clip for you, then I'm going to break down how silly this is, but also, to be fair, I'm going to get into the issue currently with Canadian healthcare. Yes, there is an issue, but it's completely counter to what Donald Trump is trying to argue. First, here's the clip.
Also, they've been very nasty to us on trade. Historically, Canada has been very, very bad to us, very unfair to us on trade. So we'll see how it all works out. I would love to see Canada be the 51st state. The Canadian citizens, if that happened, would get a very big tax cut, tremendous tax cut, because they're very highly taxed. And you wouldn't have to worry about military. You wouldn't have to worry about many of the things. You'd have better health coverage. You'd have much better health coverage. So I think the people of Canada would like it, if it's explained.
Really? If it's explained, well, I can't wait for the explanation. But I'm going to explain to you the other side, or I should just say the reality. First, he mentioned at the beginning there, Canada has been very nasty to us on trade. What? It's because of these trade deals, right? That damn Donald Trump, who signed the recent trade deal with Canada and Mexico, the USMCA. Oh, so nasty. How dare these leaders like Donald Trump sign these terrible trade deals? How can he possibly use this argument when he himself did this? What? If it was so nasty, then why did you fix it the first time, dipshit? Incredible. And, his supporters will eat it up. They won't even... probably don't even know this even happened. It's just a fact-free world out there. But let's get to this hilarity that Canadians want American healthcare. Let me first start by reading out that this is the American Bankruptcy Institute. This is as neutral of a place as you could possibly get. This isn't, a left-leaning organization. These are simply bankruptcy experts that discuss bankruptcy. Healthcare costs, #1 cause of bankruptcy for American families. This is the only industrialized country where this is the case. Why would Canadians want to trade universal healthcare with bankruptcy? So from Texas Tribune here, 100 million people in America are saddled with medical debt. So they use this one family as an example. Allison Ward and her husband loaded up credit cards borrowed from relatives and delayed repaying student loans after the premature birth of their twins, left them with $80,000 in debt. Do you know if you have premature birth of twins in Canada, you're left with your money because you pay nothing? When we were having our child, there were some slight complications. We had to be in the hospital for a few more days. Cost nothing. Absolutely nothing. Just at the end of it, took our child home. Had a great time. These people are saddled with $80,000. So as they go on right here, the three are among more than 100 million people in America, including 41% of adults, beset by a healthcare system that is systematically pushing patients into debt on a mass scale. An investigation by Kaiser Health News and NPR shows. So they went on to also break down here again. This is their data showing what people sacrificed in order to service a lot of that debt. cut spending on food, clothing, and other basics, used up all or most savings, taken on extra work, delayed buying a home or delayed education, sought aid from charity or nonprofit, changed living situation, declared bankruptcy, or lost income. This is the kind of garbage that the average person has to deal with in America because of a for-profit healthcare system. And when you compare it to other countries, it's obvious. U.S. spends more on healthcare than peer countries. This data from Commonwealth Fund and OECD. So these are OECD nations. Health expenditures per person, including government and private programs and out-of-pocket spending. It is about double where Canada is, which is going to come into play when I get to the next bit of this. So there is an issue with Canadian healthcare. Now, the way it's administered, it's province to province, so it depends on the premier and the province and the government there and how they deliver universal healthcare. There are standards you have to hit, but apart from that, you can introduce things like for-profit interests in some ways that end up undermining the public system. So one example of that in Ontario, Doug Ford being the Conservative premier, Doug Ford government paying for-profit clinic more than hospitals for OHIP. OHIP is the Ontario Health Insurance Program. OHIP covered surgeries, documents show. So this is a private facility that offers surgeries that are covered by public insurance. So the public hospitals administer the same surgeries. Look at the cost differences here. More than double. Almost 2.5 times what it costs a public hospital. Knee surgery, more than 3 times as much for the private facility compared to public hospitals. So in this report from CBC News, a director of surgery at another hospital says those funding rates would allow significant profit to flow from the public purse to the clinic's owners. Quote, if I were running that center, I would be a millionaire, said the surgeon. There's a ton of money to be made. When you introduce a profit motive into the system, this is what happens. This is what happens.
By design, right? That's why you introduce a profit motive into the system. The right wing, the Republicans will tell you that the profit motive helps people make services better, but of course it doesn't. And we've seen this since Reagan, if not before, right? What it does is you cut jobs, you raise prices, and you reduce services. That's how you squeeze profit out of a system. It's not about delivering better service.
I would argue benefits nobody, but some may argue the only benefit that this has are for people who are incredibly wealthy because they don't have to worry about cost. If you don't have to worry about how much something is, then sure, healthcare in America, I'm sure, is fantastic because you can get the best doctors, best surgeons, get them immediately. You can have your own private doctor if you want. If you can just pay for everything, yeah, I'm sure you could get great healthcare. But if you're the vast majority of people, a for-profit system is simply a system that does not work. Another element of this is, this from Global News, Ontario proposes requiring health staffing agencies to disclose their rates. So staffing agencies is another way that the Ontario government has been undermining the public system. So a report last year by Ontario's Auditor General noted that the province does not cap the rates for-profit staffing agencies can charge. And while the average pay for a registered nurse directly employed by a long-term care home was $40.15 an hour, the average hourly agency rate was $97.33. Again, more than double, because they're taking a bit of that for themselves. Now, I want to share this as well. So I covered this 3 years ago, but I'll link to it below the video. Non-Americans stunned by American healthcare costs. So they talked to people, from all over the world about American healthcare costs. And it shows you just how out of step the U.S. healthcare system is with everybody else. Now, I think most of you watching this video likely already know this. That's how you found this video. But if this is surprising to you, then I implore you to go watch that video. Understand how crazy the American healthcare system appears to everybody else.
And I think also, just to jump in on that, like with wealth and income inequality, we're aware, because we hear it, we're aware that it's an issue, right? We're aware that American healthcare is broken and we feel the pain of it. We are aware that there's an inequality problem in terms of income and wealth in America. But when we actually look at the numbers, when we see it visualized, and I've done this a lot, and it still astonishes me, it's just absolutely gobsmack flabbergasting. You're like, whoa, what? Like, I don't know anything about, economic. I'm not an economist, but you look at the numbers and you go, even I understand that is like, that's not just broken. That is like going down in flames. Both wings have come off, no engine. Like it's in a nosedive, terrible.
And on top of that, there are so many hidden benefits to a universal healthcare system, and I've discussed many of those over the past 10 years of covering news and politics. But, off the top of my head here, just the fact that I never have to deal with an insurance company ever. I go to the doctor, come home, or I had surgery once, go to the hospital, get surgery, come home. Never had to talk to anybody over the phone, argue for coverage, none of that ever. So much time saved just based on that. Also, the fact that there is security in knowing that the healthcare is always there. Whether or not you have a job, lose your job, get laid off, want to change careers, want to start a new business, I have never had to worry about healthcare for myself or my family because it's always there. So peace of mind is a major benefit of a universal system. And of course, there are many more that a lot of this stuff, because I don't think about it because it is so just innate and we've always had it. I'm sure there are many benefits that I haven't even thought of just because it's a system I've always lived in and always just took for granted in some way.
I mean, as an American, think about that for a second. That sounds like a magic wish, right? You change your job, you have the Cobra thing, and you're always constantly worried about, like, geez, my tooth aches, but maybe it'll go away, right? I can't afford that right now. Maybe, I don't know, give it a couple of days, maybe it'll go away. It's this constant specter of these unexpected costs that could really disrupt all of your plans. And that worry itself is a healthcare issue, right? It's toxic. Imagining an existence in which it was just a given. You'd get good health care when you needed it. You could be proactive about it. Your tooth aches, you go, oh, I don't like that. I'm going to go get that checked out, right? I mean, it sounds like fantasy land, but everywhere else in the first world has this.
Please, Trump, and anybody that follows him. This is so stupid, so absurd. I don't even think... If you look at data, a lot of polling around healthcare in America, most conservative voters also agree that the healthcare system is trash and they want a universal system. Now, sure, there are disagreements about what kind of universal system. A lot of that is due to the fact that there's been so much propaganda against, whether it's Canada, the UK, whoever else, against universal systems. So there's a lot of unlearning that people have to do. But this is why it's important. Again, I'm going to link to this video from, I'll link to my video, but also the New York Times, just their original piece on it, where they speak to people from other countries about American healthcare. I think that is eye-opening for a lot of people who simply have been living under a for-profit system and haven't yet realized how insane it is.
Word. It's just absolutely bonkers stuff. I like David Doel a lot. I think he's one of the guys in this sector that does like really clear, really down to earth, really understandable commentary on this stuff. And, so it's nice to revisit him. You can definitely go out and check out his channel. It's called The Rational National, and I highly recommend it. Let me know what you think in the comments.